Making a website in 2023 is actually easier than ever. But in this video, I wanted to go through different sort of services, different ways you can make a website, covering the easiest ones to the hardest ones. Yeah, just different ways that you can make a website in 2023. Before we get into it, please subscribe to my newsletter if you haven't already. I share cool and interesting stories, share sort of links to interesting things and exclusive offers, discounts and stuff like that as well. So make sure to subscribe. So I like to think I know a thing or two when it comes to building websites, mainly because I've been doing it for over 10 years now and still do it today. My first way of making money online was actually through my own blog when I was selling icons and advertising and sponsorships. And then it went into making websites for clients. So I learned how to do web design, web development. I started making websites for clients. Then that also evolved into making Tumblr themes, which have now made me nearly $700,000 in profit, which is just wild. And I also have my e-commerce store, ulxstore.com. So yeah, I have quite a bit of experience when it comes to building websites and making money from websites. Making a website 10 years ago was nothing like it is today. It was actually much harder than it is today. Back then, you had to mess around with servers. You had to know some code if things went wrong. Troubleshooting was also a pain in the butt. You just had to figure all these things out on your own. Nowadays, it is much easier and cheaper and sometimes even free. I feel like you'd actually be silly not to have a website. I also wanted to cover why you should build a website. So building a personal brand. I have my own personal website. Just having your own website, building that brand, I think is very important. It's also sort of your own corner of the internet. The great thing about having a website is that it's yours. No one can really take that away from you. It's also a way to share your work, share your portfolio. So yeah, I use mine to share my own work. I share links to like my YouTube stuff, my design work, wallpapers, courses, stuff like that. It almost acts like a resume. It's also a great way for potential clients and businesses to get in touch with me. So I usually drive people to the contact form on my website if they want to get in touch with me. And that's how I get most of the deals that I get, website stuff, sponsorships, things like that. It's all usually through my personal website. I think one of the key features of building your own website, like I said earlier, is that no one can take it away from you. You have so much more control over it. So platforms like Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, they can easily remove you or ban you from their platforms, even if you haven't technically done anything wrong. Hosting providers are much less likely to do the same. They actually want to keep your business, especially because you're paying to host your website. They don't really want to get rid of you. The only time they'll probably remove your website is if you're doing something illegal or unethical, but the likelihood of your website being taken down is really very low. The great thing is, even if they do remove your website, you can just move your website to a new host that will be okay with hosting whatever you're hosting. So yeah, having your own website, you just have so much more control than anything else. So let's get into some of my favorite website builders and the ones that I would actually recommend to people if they wanted to build a website today. Bento. So Bento is a link in bio service to show your favorite links, as well as share interactive things like products, bookings, videos, etc. It's a very basic website and ideal for anyone who just doesn't need a fully fledged website. There are a ton of link in bio services out there. I feel as though it looks pretty slick and it's very easy to use as well. I feel like anyone can set up their own sort of link in bio website with Bento. Pretty awesome, and it's free to use. Another one is links.co. So again, it's actually similar to Bento, but this is one I'm currently using and I don't think it's as nice as Bento, but there's one primary reason why I like it over Bento, and that is due to the ability of having rows of content. So it's ideal for someone like me where I want to showcase my own products like wallpapers and Lightroom presets. Instead of having a list of them constantly, I can just have a row of them so that people can quickly swipe through. Literally the only reason I use links.co, otherwise I probably would use Bento instead. So yeah, those are two services that I would recommend if you're looking just for something simple and free. They do have premium features as well that you can pay for, but most of the stuff is free. And yeah, very easy to set up. If you're just looking for a link in bio, just a link to interesting things around the web, link to your own website, whatever. Yeah, this is perfect. Next up, we have Squarespace. So Squarespace is one that I've recommended in the past, and I feel like it's just so easy for most people, especially if you're a business looking to set up something like a restaurant or an agency or something like that. Just something that looks professional, but you don't want to hire a developer and pay thousands for them to build it. Squarespace is the one I usually recommend to people. The best thing about it is they have so many templates to get you kickstarted, so you don't have to worry too much about trying to choose the perfect design or whatever and trying to make sure that it works across like your laptop and your phone or whatever, and whether forms and stuff work. Squarespace just handles all that for you. When I have potential clients come to me and they don't have a large budget to build a custom built website, I usually just tell them to go to Squarespace. They will save a lot more money. Their business plan is only $23 a month, which is significantly cheaper than hiring a designer or developer. And like I said, they have so many templates and all the templates are free to use. They actually look good. I think that's the most important thing. These templates actually look good. So you don't really want to be using some random templates that are quite ugly. Squarespace makes sure that all of their templates look professional. Next up, we have Framer. And I feel like Framer over the last few months has really blown up. It just seems to be everywhere. I don't know if that's because I just follow them on Twitter, so I always see the updates. But I've started using Framer to build my own websites. And one of the websites that I built recently with it is my videocreatorcourse.com. So videocreatorcourse.com is just a landing page that I'm using to market my course. And yeah, I use Framer to build it. It took me a couple of days and I'm very happy with it. The great thing is I can make any changes that I need to as well very, very quickly. There's definitely more of a learning curve though when it comes to Framer, as you will need to sort of learn how to use the software. If you're familiar with design apps like Figma, then it should be quite familiar. But if you're not, you do have to learn how the interface works. But with that learning curve comes the ability to heavily customize the look of your website. So if you really want your website to look different from other websites, have a specific thing or specific style, Framer is the way to go. What's great about Framer is that it's completely free to use until you want to actually make your website live. So you can play around with it for as long as you like, experiment, learn the interface, learn as much as you like with it. And then when you've made a website that you like and want to use a custom domain, only then will you be charged. And even then, it's only like $5 a month for their basic plan. Now, the plans obviously do vary depending on the visitors and your website and stuff. But yeah, it's very affordable, I think, for what it is. I have a feeling Framer are onto something good here because I just feel like I'm seeing it everywhere. It's just getting bigger and they're adding new features at such a rapid pace. They also have a template marketplace where you can get free and premium templates. So if you're someone who doesn't want to start completely from scratch, you can use templates that they have. I actually have a template myself for sale with Framer, which is basically a copy of my personal website. So if you ever wanted to copy my personal website, if you like the look of my personal website, you can check out this Framer template, which I've made, which is pretty much a copy of it. If you're someone who has design shops and is familiar with design software like Figma, I honestly feel like this is perfect. It's worth learning. And I also feel like the market for Framer experts is growing. So there's also a great opportunity there to make good money. Next up, we have Webflow.com. So Webflow is actually quite similar to Framer, but I'd say it's more sort of targeted towards more technical users. So it's like Framer in the sense of you have a visual interface to build the website, but the way Webflow handles things is sort of more in a development background. So if you're someone who is used to using development language, sort of like padding, margins, and sort of things like that, this makes a lot more sense, I think. I think Webflow makes a lot more sense, especially for someone like me who has done HTML and CSS, a lot of that in the past and still does it. Webflow in sort of in a language sense actually makes a lot of sense. I also feel like Webflow is more capable than Framer right now with the features that it has, but Framer is sort of catching up. One key feature though I like about Webflow that Framer doesn't have is the ability to export a website and host it yourself. So you don't have to pay Webflow to host a website. You can host your website wherever you like and you just have a bit more control. Next up, we have WordPress, and WordPress I feel like actually has the steepest learning curve compared to everything else that I've mentioned here. The funny thing about WordPress is that it actually started as a simple blogging platform, but now it's evolved into this sort of behemoth of a thing that can do anything and everything, from creating a simple portfolio to having a full-blown e-commerce store. I like to see WordPress as sort of Squarespace, but on steroids, just because of how much you can do with WordPress. The other thing with it is that you will need to set up a server and install it yourself. So that can be quite technical for people who have never really done this sort of thing. But there are services out there like Kinsta where it will make this super easy. And even then, once you do actually have it set up, you're most likely going to need to find a theme. You're going to need to customize it. You're going to need to install plugins, and there's just all sorts of other stuff. It's definitely a lot of work, and I probably just wouldn't recommend it to beginners. But like I said, if you're looking for a website or some sort of platform that is well developed and has everything so that you can do anything and everything, this is it. The reason I brought it up is because I actually use WordPress for my personal website, olio.com. When I first built my website back in 2012, WordPress was really the only option you had back then. There wasn't sort of website builders or anything like we have today. So I've just stuck with WordPress since then, and I will continue to do so just because I have such extensive knowledge of the platform. I actually plan to make a new product-based website soon with WordPress. because of how versatile it is. So make sure to subscribe to my newsletter and make sure to follow me elsewhere, because I'll be sharing that website soon. So yeah, that's it for this video, me going through some of my favorite website builders, website sort of platforms that you can use in 2023. This is of course made to be so that anyone and everyone can sort of get started, especially with the ones like Bento, like links.co, Squarespace and Framer. If you're someone who hasn't built a website before and are very interested, these are the platforms that I would recommend. It's worth spending some time figuring out what sort of website you would like and then trying to choose the right platform to build it on. If you want to build an e-commerce store, one platform I actually haven't mentioned here is Shopify. Shopify is definitely the platform you have to use if you're building an e-commerce store. I use it for ulxstore.com. Shopify isn't cheap though, but I just feel like the amount of features and functionality that Shopify has, you know, if you're building an e-commerce store and you're making money, you want to build it on top of something that's reliable and has a great ecosystem behind it. And Shopify is definitely that platform. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter and subscribe for more.